Hi, my name is Whitney Alexander, and this is my flipped video for ITL 516. Today we will be rounding whole numbers to the nearest 10 or 100. This is a third grade standard for numbers and operations in base 10. This standard asks students to use place value understanding to round whole numbers to the nearest 10 or 100. The essential question is, how does the position of a digit give value and meaning to a number? What does it mean to round numbers? Rounding whole numbers is the process by which we change the number to the nearest 10, 100, or 1,000 to make calculations easier. Key vocabulary is rounding, benchmark, estimate, midpoint, number line, and to the nearest. Today's task: how do we use a number line to help us round three-digit numbers to the nearest 10 or 100? So first, I'm going to start off rounding the number 325 to the nearest 100. So I drew my number line, and now I am going to plot my benchmarks, which is the number that 325 falls between. Now, because we're rounding to the nearest 100, I'm going to be looking at the digit in the hundreds place, the 3. Okay, so because 325 is larger than 300, the hundreds that it falls between would be 300 and 400. Okay, so now my next step will be to find the midpoint on my number line. So this is the halfway point between 300 and 400. So halfway between 300 and 400 is going to be 350. Let me write that again. Oh. So my halfway point is 350. Okay, so where does 325 fall on this number line? 325, is it less than or greater than our midpoint, 350? It's less than, so I'm going to plot it about right here. All right, and so 325 will go about right there. So because it's less than the halfway point or midpoint of 350, 325 is going to be closer to 300. So therefore, it will round down. So 325 rounded to the nearest 100 would be 300. All right, now let's round to the nearest 10. We're going to use the same number, 325. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to determine our benchmarks, the number that 325 falls between. But now, instead of looking at the number in the hundreds place, we're rounding to the nearest 10. So we're going to look at the number in the tens place, which is the number 2. So the tens that 325 falls between is going to be 320 and 330. Okay, now let's determine our halfway point. Which number is halfway between 320 and 330? It is 325, which happens to be the number that we're rounding. So now how do we know if we round up or down? So since we're rounding to the nearest 10, the 2 is in the tens place, and we're going to look to the number to the right. The number is 5. So the rule of rounding is if it's 5 or more, you round up. If it's less than 5, you round down. So since the number to the right of the number in the tens place is 5 or greater, we round up. So therefore, 325 rounded to the nearest 10 is 330. I hope you enjoyed this video on rounding to the nearest 100 and to the nearest 10 using a number line.